Amazing. All right. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Tino, for sharing your screen. Really lovely to have you all here, and welcome to this learning clinic. Tino, if I could see the next slide. This learning clinic is the second part of our Wikidata for Wiki Loves Monuments series. And there will be a third session running in November. We will let you know about details of that at the end of today's session, but there has been a date change. Someone's mentioned volume, so I'm just going to put my volume up. Is this better? Am I a bit more audible? I hope that's better. Thanks, Rashina. All right, so I'm delighted to introduce, well, our speaker for today is Alicia Fagerving from Wikimedia Sweden. Unfortunately, Eric is unwell today and is unable to join us. So Alicia is going to be carrying the fort for us. So I invite us all to support Alicia in a solo sharing, which we only found out about in the last hour. So Alicia is very much welcome, and we're wishing her all the best for today's presentation. If I could move to the next slide. Just to introduce those of you, although I see many familiar names, for those of you for whom this is your first Let's Connect session, we want to let you know that Let's Connect is a peer learning program that is operated as a joint community foundation initiative. We are here to have a good time. We make people feel comfortable and confident in their wiki work, and we believe that we have something to learn from anyone, no matter their experience. And that is our culture here at Let's Connect. If I could pass on to the next slide, please, Chino. Myself, Cassie, Chino, and Bacola will be facilitating your session today. You're free to ask questions in the chat at any point, and we'll be there to share links and assist you in any way we can. But why are we here at this specific clinic? So this is session 2 of 3. And in this series overall, we hope that you're going to learn how to run data queries using Wikidata Sparkle queries, gain a practical understanding of how to create lists using Listeria, learn how to run PET scan queries, and learn how to create structured data on Wikimedia Commons. So those are our aims for today as part of our broader season. Could I pass to the next slide, please? So specifically for today, when you leave, we hope that you'll be able to understand how to run queries. You'll be able to create lists using Listeria. You'll be able to create structured data on Commons, and you'll be able to know how to establish connections with Wikimedia Sweden and the Content Partnerships Hub for ongoing support in your wiki work. Could I have the next slide, please, Gina? This is what today's session will look like. I'm currently welcoming you, and I'm going to pass over to Bacola shortly to do the icebreaker. There will be a presentation by Alicia for around 45 minutes, which will be followed by a Q&A with an explanation of a practical exercise. We'll then do the practical exercise with lots of room for trial, error, and assistance, and then we will close the meeting. We have interpretation available in French, Portuguese, and Spanish. If you are looking for interpretation, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, beside your reactions button, there's a little globe that says interpretation. If you tap on that, it will allow you to tap into the interpretation channels. With all that in mind, I am going to pass over to Bacola, who's going to take us through the icebreaker. So welcome everyone once more, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this session with you today.
Okay, thank you, Lucy, for that introduction. So now I'll be coordinating the icebreaker, and I'll just drop the link to the icebreaker in the chat. Okay, so I just dropped the link to the Etherpad, and you can also access the direct link to the icebreaker through that Etherpad. And I would do well to just share my screen and put you through what we'll be doing. Okay, sorry, I have so many tabs. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so for today's icebreaker, it is tagged Wiki Lie and Wiki Truths. So we have some questions that we have carefully curated on the Jamboard one. And if you are all there, I can see some of the participants are joining already. So what you need to do is just read through this statements, and any of these statements that is a wiki lie or a wiki true, you indicate that by using any of the stickers, any of the sticky notes at the top. So for the first statement, it says Wikidata was launched after Wikipedia in the year 2015. Now, if this is a wiki lie or a wiki truth, what you just do is you select any of these sticky notes and then put it at the front of each statement. So, and if you can't do that by joining the Jamboard, you can also drop your comments in the chat and I would kindly help you fix the sticky notes. Yeah. So, and if you feel like this statement is a lie, or sorry, is truth, then you can just pick this same sticky notes and then put it at the front of the statement. So the same thing applies to every other statement on this Jamboard. And I can see some of the participants are already doing that. And if you would like to duplicate the sticky notes, you can just do that by clicking on these three dots and click on duplicate, and it duplicates for you. So now let's get on the Jamboard, and also do well to just drop your response to all the statements. The first one, Wiki, and for the second one, it says PetScan is a tool used to scan images of pets on Wikimedia Commons. Okay. And then for the third statement, it says every Wikidata entry must have an image associated with it. Now, if this is a wiki lie or a wiki true, you can do that by picking questions, a tool that can generate lists based on data from Wikidata. Now, I know this is part of what we'll be doing today, but I thought just to test our knowledge around some of these tools. And for the last one, it says Wiki Loves Monuments is the largest photographic competition in the world, and also was identified by Guinness World Record. Now, I would really like to know if this is a wiki true or a wiki lie. Okay, I will be checking the chats now just to be sure that. Okay, so I'll drop the link again to this Jamboard in the chats. So you can directly access the Jamboard using this link that I just posted in the chats. And it will be good to see how we all address some of these statements.
Bukola, it would help if you expand your screen so that it's zoomed in a bit more, because it's very zoomed out.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep the stickers coming, and while we also try to really just think around some of these basic statements. So I see we have about 4 wiki lie for the first statement, which says Wikidata was launched after Wikipedia in the year 2015. And for the pet scan, I see 3 wiki lies. And even though I had an image of pets beside the pet scan, I see people still say pet scan is a tool not used to scan images of pets. Uncommon. Okay, so to get more of the sticky notes, you just do that by duplicating any of the response. And then you drag to any of these statements. Okay, thank you all for participating in this icebreaker. I believe we still have some few minutes or seconds to still participate. And if you have your comments in the chat, you can also just do well to use the chat to respond. So thank you. And yeah. Okay, I'm going over 3 wiki lie. I have no idea for number 4. Okay, with this, we have come to the end of today's icebreaker. I hope you all enjoyed this session. And just to respond to quickly to the statements, for the first one, Wikidata wasn't launched in the year 2015. It was launched in 2012. And yes, we all got the response to the PET scan. So even though we have a picture of pets, PET scan isn't used to scan images of pets on Wikimedia Commons. And every Wikidata entry is not does not necessarily have to have images. So for some Wikidata entries, there might not be images attached. And for Listeria, it is a tool that can generate lists based on data from Wikidata. So thank you all for the wiki truths. And finally, for the last question, Wiki Loves Monuments is the largest photography competition in the world. You can Google search that and you get a response to this statement. So thank you all, and I will pass over the virtual mic to the sharer. Thank you. And I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Alicia. Thank you.
I'm obviously trying to find the right screen to share. And I think this should work. Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm also very excited to see a lot of familiar names. I'm glad you've chosen to join us today as well. As a reminder, my name is Alicia Fagerving, and I am a developer at Wikimedia Sverige. And one initiative that we work with a lot at Wikimedia Sverige is developing a content partnership hub that is developing one place where Wikimedians from around the world can get support in enriching the Wikimedia platforms with content from different partners such as GLAM institutions, public agencies, and so on. So this means in practice that we are experts on Wikimedia Commons and different sorts of files and Wikidata and so on. In the first session, I introduced the basics of Wikidata with the focus on working with monuments. I'm very happy to see that a lot of organizers of Wiki Loves Monuments are making the transition from Wikipedia-based lists to structured data on Wikidata. And this is also something that we have provided support with to a lot of local organizers, such as in the case of Uganda, which we looked at in our last meeting. And today we are going one step further. We are going to look at how to use some very useful tools to be able to get a better overview of the data that is on Wikidata. We're going to expand what we learned about Sparkle in our last session and have a look at some very useful constructions that we can use in our queries. Then we are going to look at Listeria, which is a tool to create Wikipedia lists based on data from Wikidata. And we will also look at it a bit closer in our practical exercise later on. We will look at PetScan, which is a powerful search engine with which we can search across the Wikimedia projects. For example, we can combine data from Wikipedia with data from Wikidata. And finally, we're going to have a quick look at structured data on Commons, in which, again, Wikidata and Wikimedia Commons are combined in order to create something more useful. So when you write basic Sparkle queries, very often you want to find things, find items that are missing certain information so that you know, okay, these items really need improvement. How do I find them? We use a construction where we surround the statement with a minus construction and curly braces. I'm going to show it live now. I'll make it bigger so that everyone can see it. In this particular query, we want to find church buildings in Germany that do not have a statement about their administrative location. So I say, give me all items and their labels that have the statement instance of with the value church building. The country statement, I define it to be Germany. And then I say, without a located in the administrative territorial entity statement. So items that fulfill these criteria and are missing this statement. And I can see that is quite a lot. I can also see, give me churches in Germany that do not have an image. I remember that the image property is P18. That's over 11,000 churches in Germany that are still waiting to be photographed. In our first session, I devoted some time to talking about modeling. I talked about how you should always try to set the instance of statement to the most specific value you can think of. For example, you can say something is a museum, or you can say something is an art museum or a natural history museum, and so on. Because if we look at Wikidata, then we can see that art museum is a subclass of museum of culture, which in turn is a subclass of museum. But very often you want to run a Sparkle query to find all items that are some sort of museum. You want to find both art museums and natural history museums and culture museums and so on. So this means you have to write a statement to traverse all the subclasses of this item, which is museum. And this gives us about 8,000 items. And if we look at an example, let's see if we can find one that is, let's see, that is something else. They are all museum, but I bet some of them are some other sorts as well. Sometimes you want to be able to combine your searches. For example, you want to find all items that are either in Uganda or in Somalia. You want to find items that fulfill any of these conditions. And this means that you write those two conditions in curly braces and you put a union statement between them, such as in this example, where I want to find everything that is an instance of mosque that has a country statement with the value Uganda, and another one with the value of Somalia. And this will give me a list of mosques that are in either of these two countries. And finally, a query that I like a lot and that I know that people like and make use of a lot, retrieving Wikipedia articles. A very common case is I want to see which of these items have or don't have Wikipedia articles in my selected language. And another useful thing to find out is if they do have Wikipedia articles in other languages, I want to count in how many languages they do have articles. So for example, I can write a query for all items that are instances of synagogue, which do not have an article in Swedish, that do have some site links. I want to order this list so that the number of articles, so the items with the largest number of articles are on the top. And you can also see that in this particular case, I also want to limit my query to only get the top 50 items. And the reason for that is when we run such a complex query, which uses data from Wikipedia, very often the query might take too long to execute. So I limit it to the top 50 list. And I get a list of synagogues that have a lot of Wikipedia articles, but not in Swedish. And then I can organize a competition on Swedish Wikipedia to write articles about these objects. And with these couple of useful Sparkle constructions, we're ready to have a look at a tool where we can use them to create lists on Wikipedia or any other wiki, such as Wikidata or Wikimedia Commons. It's called Listeria, and people use it for cases such as competitions, such as Wiki Loves Monuments in Uganda. You can use it during editathons. You can create to-do lists on the Wikipedia, such as, hey, here is a list of mosques that are missing on our Wikipedia. Let's write articles about them. I'm going to show an example that we are going to look into a bit later. This Listeria list fetches data about cultural heritage sites in the Ivory Coast. If we look at how the code is constructed, we can say that this is basically a template. The template Wikidata list was created originally on the English Wikipedia, but then since then it's been imported to practically all wikis. So you can go to the template page on any of the wikis, and you can follow the language links to find it on your Wikipedia. As you can see, sometimes the name has been localized, so it might have a different name depending on the language. In the documentation of the template, you will find the code snippets that you have to paste into your desired page. On the top template is called Wikidata list, and the bottom template, which you paste on the bottom, is called Wikidata list end, or whatever it is called if it's in a different language. And whatever is in between those two templates, the top and bottom, that's where data from Wikidata will be put. And also, if you put some manual edits in between those templates, they will get overwritten. So if we look at the template, the most important part, obviously, is the Sparkle query that we want to run. Then in the columns field, we define what we want to, what data we want to import from Wikidata about these items. So, for example, I want to show a number. I want to number my items. I want to show the item ID from Wikidata. I want to show the P809 property, which in this case is an ID of a protected site, and so on and so on. If we have a lot of items in our search, we might want to split our list in subsections. And in this case, I say use P31, that is, use the instance of statement to automatically split the list into smaller lists. This also happens automatically. And after I've filled out the template, I don't have to do anything else. I save it, and there is a bot called Listeria bot, and that will come to your wiki page and update it and put a list. If I don't want to wait, if I know there's been some changes to Wikidata and I want to update my list as soon as possible, there is always a little button, manually update list. So in a minute or two, the list will be overwritten. Sometimes it doesn't work as desired because that's life, and a very common case is that the Sparkle query you put in has some sort of error or typo, and that is unfortunately not very easy to see when pasting in a query into the Wikidata list template. That is why I usually prefer to write my query first in the query interface and running it so that I can see whether I've made some sort of error or whether it actually returns results that look reasonable. And another case that also sometimes happen is that the Listeria bot is very slow or goes down and doesn't work at all, in which case all we can do is wait a couple minutes or sometimes a couple hours, unfortunately, but don't panic. Sooner or later, it will be back up. And this was a very simple use of the Wikidata list template. If you look at the documentation, as always, you will find a lot of more options that you can use in order to customize your list. For example, here we can see something called frequency. So you can modify how often the bot should come and update your list. Maybe you want to wait a couple more days. You can define whether the references from Wikidata should be imported as well. You can define how big the thumbnails of the images fetched from Wikidata should be. You can define the language of the labels and descriptions that are fetched from Wikidata, and so on and so on. And as I said previously, using Wikidata generated lists in competitions such as Wiki Loves Monuments has the advantage because it means that when someone edits a Wikidata item of a monument or adds another item, a Listeria list can be updated automatically. And it also means that a lot more people can contribute with data to your competition. For example, if you're running Wiki Loves Monuments in a French-speaking country, and you have a list on French Wikipedia, then only the community members who speak French will be able to edit that list. But if you use data from Wikidata, then that means it's much easier for people who do not speak French to edit and improve the Wikidata items. And then those changes and those edits can be reused by everyone, regardless of what language they speak. There are some successful examples of using Listeria lists for competitions and projects. For example, on Swedish Wikipedia, we have a list of natural reserves and national parks, which is quite a long list because we've imported a lot of data to Wikidata from the Nature Protection Agency. And here you can also see that, make it a tiny bit bigger. We are using an extra template in order to add those icons through which users can click on and either look at the commons category of this nature reserve or upload their own pictures through the Wiki Loves Monuments campaign. There's a very similar list that we have compiled for the Wiki Loves Monuments competitions in Uganda. And here you can see that we also include a link to the Wikipedia article, if one exists, about this item in English Wikipedia. So this way we can see very clearly, we can find which Ugandan monuments do not have articles in Wikipedia. Or you can use Listeria for making reports and to-do lists, as I mentioned previously, finding items within a particular subject area that are missing in Wikipedia. The wiki project Women in Red on English Wikipedia is doing an amazing work compiling those lists to be able to identify important women who do not have articles on English Wikipedia, but they do have articles in a couple other language versions. Now a couple words about another very powerful tool. As I mentioned, PetScan is a search engine that you can use to search across Wikipedia, Wikidata, and Wikimedia Commons. It has quite a well-written documentation because it does have a lot of options and possible ways to customize your search. If you want to learn more, there is a very lovely instructional video by the Wiki World Heritage User Group that focuses specifically on PetScan, which is over an hour long. We don't have that time today, so I'm just going to demonstrate a couple possible uses. For example, imagine you want to find images in a certain category on Commons that are missing a particular template. And that is a common use case for WikiLoves organizers. I want to find images from Wiki Loves Monuments 2023 in Uganda that do not have the National Cultural Site Uganda template. And here I am, made it a little bit bigger. I start by defining that I want to search on Wikimedia Commons. I want to look at the category called Images from Wiki Loves Monuments 2023 in Uganda. This category has a flat structure. It doesn't have subcategories, so it's enough to have depth 0. Then I go to the Page Properties tab in order to define in which namespaces I want to share. And since we're on Commons and I want to find files, then I have to select Files. And then I go to the Templates and Links tab. And here I can define all sorts of criteria related to templates or pages to which those images link to or are linked from, and so on. In this case, I have an option here, has none of these templates. And I have the name of my template. And finally, in the Output tab, I can select, for example, how I want to sort my results. Maybe I want to have my results in a spreadsheet or in a plain text list, but I'm happy with the default choices. And here I can see the files that are missing the template. And something that is very useful to know is that when I want to share this query, I want other people to be able to run it. Then every query has a unique link that I can retrieve and copy and reuse, so other people can also run it. I can also do searches in multiple categories. For example, images that are in 2 or more categories. In this particular example, I want to find quality images that are also in the category images from Wiki Loves Monuments in South Africa. If I look at the category Images from Wiki Loves Monuments in South Africa, I can see that it has subcategories. So I have to define the depth. I want to go a bit deeper, but the quality images category is flat, so I can define a custom depth for it to make the search go a bit faster. And I can see there are 2 files that are in the intersection of these 2 categories. So it is really beautiful, a very lovely book. And finally, an example in Wikipedia. I want to get the Wikidata items of a set of Wikipedia articles. In this case, churches in Kenya. I define that I want to search on English Wikipedia. I want to search this category. I can see in the actual category, I can see in the actual category that it has some subcategories. So I set in a depth. I'm usually quite generous. I make sure that I'm searching the main namespace, which is articles. And that way I get a list of all the Wikipedia articles in that category and also get their Wikidata items. But there is another tab here, Wikidata, and in this tab I can be a bit more specific. For example, which of these Wikidata items do not have images? Image is P18, and I select none. So now I will only get Wikidata items in this category that do not have images. And finally, structured data on commons. In short, this is an infrastructure that was introduced to Wikimedia Commons, well, a couple years ago, but it's still very, very young in Wikimedia terms, which allows us to describe the images, well, all files, in fact, using structured data instead of just free text as we have traditionally done on Wikimedia Commons. As always, there is an extensive documentation where you can find more information, but the reason why we're doing this is that it provides us with a couple of advantages. First of all, structured data is much, much easier to analyze and process. It's much easier to search in, and it also uses the multilinguality of Wikidata. Say you take a photo of a church and you only describe it in free text in French, then users of Wikimedia Commons will be able to find that picture if they type in something in French, but not if they type in something in Arabic or Swedish. But if you link that photo to the Wikidata item of that church, and that church has an item with labels in several languages, then those will be accessible to the search engine in Wikimedia Commons. We're going to have a look at an example. I'm going to look at images from Wiki Loves Monuments 2023 in Sweden. And here's an example photo. It has a description here, only in Swedish, but it also has a structured data tab in which we can see that it depicts the most important property, a castle, a particular building, and a river that is called Nyköpingsån. And if I go to the item of the castle, then I can see it has labels in several languages. I can see that it has Wikipedia articles in several languages, so I can learn a bit more about it. And I can also see that with the help of structured data, I can express a lot more than just what's depicted in the photo. Who took it? What is the copyright status and license of the photo? There's some meta information. When and where it was created, as well as the coordinates from which the photo was taken. Just remember that you don't actually have to add all of this information by hand. All this meta information is provided by bots who convert the information from the description template automatically. But still, there is a lot that can be done by humans that computers can't really do automatically, like actually looking at the photo and adding what the photo depicts. And just like Wikidata, Wikimedia Commons has a query service, which works in a very similar way. like on Wikidata. Just a quick warning that the query search for structured data on Commons is still in beta version. So this is why you need to log in order to use it. Just like Wikidata, this query engine has a lot of examples. Quality images depicting arch bridges in Italy. That is something that's not necessarily easy to search for, just using categories or just using PET scan. So structured data gives us much more flexible and customizable tools. And you can even do some more advanced queries, like files from Wiki Loves Monuments competitions in Sweden and the geographical places where they were taken. And you can even color code them by the year of the competition. We have a couple more minutes. And if you actually look at this query, it is quite complex because it combines structured data on Commons with Wikidata. And when we look at an example photo from this map, we can see that it has been marked as, here it is. It has been marked as participating in these competitions. So by doing that, we can analyze photos submitted by people to the Wiki Loves competitions. I spoke earlier about bots and them converting data about Wiki Loves Monuments and other photos. We at Wikimedia Sverige have been doing some work converting the data from the free text and the templates to Wikidata statements. For example, if a photo has a monument template with some ID, then we can automatically try and look up on Wikidata whether there is an item with the same ID number. We can look up where that monument is located, and we can add that information as respectively depicts and location of creation. And we can also look at the Wiki Loves Monuments template. The template in the photo says this was taken for the 2015 competition in Israel. And we can also look at the items of these competitions on Wikidata and add those statements automatically. So again, there's a lot that can be done automatically, but not all. Obviously, some images will have broken templates, or people will write that information in different ways. And of course, sometimes the monument item on Wikidata will exist, but we will not be able to match it automatically because it doesn't have the correct ID number. And sometimes there will be no Wikidata item for that particular monument. So a prerequisite to enriching Wiki Loves Monuments photos with data from Wikidata is obviously that the monuments exist on Wikidata. So now I'm circling back to the work that I described in the beginning, working on creating and improving the data about Ugandan monuments on Wikidata. Now that the monuments are on Wikidata, everyone is able to depict statements to the beautiful photos that were uploaded as part of this competition. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I didn't go over my time. I got a bit of a dry throat. I'm looking forward to reading and hearing your questions and comments.
Thank you, Alicia, for that insightful presentation. There was a lot of Wikidata power while you were explaining the whole process. So it was also nice to discover a new thing, especially for me. I just discovered that the Wiki Commons also have a query service. That is quite interesting for me to know. Yeah. And
yeah, it's as I said, it's still not like fully functional. It's still in a beta version because crunching all this data takes some time. You do have to log in to use it. Sometimes it's quite slow, sometimes it goes down, but it's still very, very useful.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's good to know that there are tools that could actually help us make our editing on Wikidata and Wiki Commons very efficient. Now, going over some of the comments on the Jamboard, which we had dropped a link earlier for participants to drop their comments, questions, and even confusion. If you are confused as to what Listeria is, or like the structured data on commons is not something that you're familiar with, or you feel like the Wikidata query or PET scan needs more clarification, I think this is a good time for us to drop our questions and comments so that Alicia can help us provide clarity to any area that you think needs more explanation. And I could see some comments in French on the Jamboard, and I would need to translate that. And yeah, so for the first one, it says, I feel like we went in all directions during the presentation. And unfortunately, I didn't understand anything at all. Where do we actually start, please? Wow. Just like I said, we had so many Wikidata power coming together, so sometimes it might be a bit confusing. So I would like the participants who had dropped that comment to maybe, if you would like to maybe provide more clarity as to what you want Alicia to address, I think that would be good. You can just request the mic and we can unmute you to speak.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And also there's still time to add more questions to the Jamboard. I will drop the link in the chat again, just if you want to. And also you can just drop your questions in the chat if you can't access the Jamboard. Okay, so while we wait for the first participants, I would like us to address the second question on the Jamboard, which says, how can these different tools be used step by step to make a better contribution to the Wiki Loves Monuments campaign? Just in case, yeah. So I don't know if Alicia would like to address this. Thank you.
Oh, that is a very good question. One thing that I would like to point out is I've heard Wiki Loves Monuments organizers do want to move to Listeria lists, from data on Wikipedia. So I think the first step would be testing whether this is doable, such as creating a test Listeria list for monuments in your area. And that way you can get an overview of which monuments from your country are already on Wikidata and what data about them is available on Wikidata. And the results of that will be very, very different depending on your situation. Some countries have a lot of data on Wikidata, and then you will get beautiful big lists that, and you will see that the data only requires minor additions or corrections. In some other countries, there is unfortunately very few of the monuments on Wikidata, and then you will at least know that. You will know that there is a lot of work to be done before you realistically can use Wikidata to run Wiki Loves Monuments. And then you will have to start looking at maybe mass importing that data from your language version of Wikipedia to Wikidata. In our next session, which will be in November, we will look closer at how such big upload projects can be done using OpenRefine. So you are all very welcome to that if that's interesting. So I would say being able to use Sparkle and
Sparkle e Listeria. Listeria
Listeria
é um primeiro.
Utiliser, c'est un bon premier pas pour participer dans ces concours de manière effective. Mais aussi, je voudrais dire que Petska, que je vous laissais montrer avant, on l'utilise beaucoup pour
during and after competitions. For example, like I showed, we can identify photos which do not have monument templates. So we don't have to go through all the photos and check them all one by one.
Chequear las fotos una a una.
And another thing, I think that
Otra cosa que
using structured data on
usar datos estructurados en Commons
the photos from your competitions after they've been uploaded
y tenerlas, chequear las imágenes de la competición después que se suban, eso es algo que puede ser implementado como parte de la competición, como una campaña para su comunidad local. No todo el mundo que se une está tomando fotografías. Quizá alguna gente ha tenido datos estructurados para la fotografía. Igual hay más gente interesada. Gracias, Alicia, porque también le ha gustado que se intenten nuevas actividades. Los participantes quieran formar parte de Wiki Loves Monuments, especialmente para gente como nosotros, que no somos fotógrafos profesionales, y aprender sobre Listeria creemos que es algo interesante para intentar cuando se quiera participar en un Wiki Loves Monuments o cualquier campaña que tenga que ver con subir ficheros multimedia, especialmente fotos. Algo que nos ha gustado mucho los proyectos Wikimedia. Hay muchas maneras de contribuir y esa es una de ellas. Vemos. Bien. Hay unos 30 participantes en esta llamada.
kindly use the virtual mic and maybe just speak on what you think about Listeria or what you need more clarity on, especially for PET scan, which sometimes can be a whole lot to deal with. And also, if you would like to get more clarity on running Wikidata queries, I think this is a good time to just maybe unmute to speak.
Exactly. Everyone's shy. You can also just join in to say something nice.
Yeah.
Because it is weird, just, speaking into my computer in my room.
Yeah, it can be very weird. Okay, so I want to believe most of the participants are very clear on what Listeria is, and they are also thinking around what new ways they can make use of the wiki power tools that they have been exposed to today. And if we don't have more questions to respond to, I think this would take us to the next part of this learning clinic, where we would then try out some practicals on any of the tools that we have identified. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm now going to explain my idea for a couple moments. I have presented a couple tools today, and I would love everyone to try out at least one of them. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to guide you through making a Listeria list from scratch and customizing it. And you are very welcome to think about a similar list that you might want to make, for example, for cultural heritage or something completely else in your country. If you do that, you are very welcome to drop the link to your Wikipedia sandbox or wherever you're working on in the chat, so that we can share it. But of course, you are also welcome to go through the slides and pick up any of the example links, for example, to Sparkle queries or to PET scan searches or anything like that, and also try to modify them to your needs, and also drop any sort of questions in the chat that I will try to have in front of me, or you are also welcome to speak up, since we're not a lot of people in the room. So I hope this will work. I'm just going to close some of my tabs, and I'm going to go to my my sandbox on Wikimedia Commons, which is here. I want to make a Listeria list for museums in my home city, because honestly, making a list for museums in the whole of Sweden would be quite a lot. But so I will start with my home city. I start by going to the template page of Wikidata list. And copying and pasting the placeholder code that is here, the top and also the bottom, which I shouldn't forget, because if I forget the Wikidata list and then it will not run and I will be confused because what did I do wrong? Well, just forgot to close the list. And here I, excuse me, and here I will paste my Sparkle code. Because I'm a normal human being and a computer, not a computer, I can't write Sparkle query off the top of my head like this. So I go to the query interface. The first thing I do is I go to the examples and I get the cat query because it formats everything for me. I say that I want to get items that are instance of museum. And I also want to find all the museums that are in the administrative location of Gothenburg municipality, where I live. I do a quick check. Yes, this will give me some results. And before I paste this query here, I remove the item label and the language selection row because they are not necessary when dealing with Listeria, because Listeria will get the labels in my selected language automatically anyway. So I want my query to only return item numbers. Looks good. And I can paste it here. And let's see what happens. I save it. It's empty. Of course, I ask the very nice bot to come here. And yes, it says, okay, that's a bit passive aggressive, but it also says that my sandbox has been edited. This is just something, I don't know, I just ignore this. It doesn't mean anything. It went well. So I go and I have a look at what happened. I have all the museums in my local municipality. I see it has some columns that I do not want or need. It's because I pasted them from the example query. So I can remove them. And this gives me an opportunity to look at how the columns section is structured. I remove the end time and start time. And you can see that here I say that the column which gives me the P131 value, that is the administrative location, it should be called place. So I can define custom labels for the columns. I don't have to, but I can do that. I can see it fetches the label from Wikidata. It fetches the description. It fetches the administrative location, the coordinates, and the photos. And let's say I would like to display the labels and descriptions in another language, because right now they are in English. Here it is. I can even define them here, or I can define them per label or description, or I can simply paste in a language, Swedish. And here I say I want to sort them by label. I save the changes and update it again. And while it is updating, it will take a minute, I go back to what I have said about subclasses, because in my query here that I'm using, which is somewhere, and I've probably already lost it. As you can see, all the labels and descriptions of all the things are now in a different language. You can see that in the query that I'm using here, I only get items where the instance of statement is exactly museum. But since I want to get all sorts of museums, then I use this construction instead. And this will give me items that are an art museum and so on. I can update it again. And there are no more comments here. Listeria bot is behaving very nicely today. I must say, very quick, very snappy. And I can see I got even more results. Let's say I also want to see the Wikidata item ID of each museum. So I add another column. And if I remember correctly, I just have to add item here. And I want to split the list by the instance of, so that all the art museums will be in one section, all the technology museums will be in another section. And I remember that instance of is P31. So I only have to write 31 here. I save it. I ask it nicely to update. And, oh yeah, this is. And it works. And now I can see I have links to Wikidata for each of the item. And I can also see that the list has been split. I have working life museums. I have a couple art museums. I have some museums that are just museums. And I have a bunch that could not be sorted. There is a setting here that says min section. It defines how many items of the same class there should be before Listeria bot puts them in their own table. So if we have at least 3 art museums in this result list, then make a separate section for them. But I want to change it to 1 so that I get rid of this miscellaneous table. It will break it down for me into more specific sections. Here we go. And yeah, there is quite a number. So this is how I can explore what sorts of museums in my home municipality there are on Wikidata. I will now allow you to work on your own and come up with problems and questions for me. I have to step back for about a minute and I will be right back.
Thank you, Alicia. Hi, everyone. So that's a really cool thing for us to try. So we have about 20 minutes for us to try what Alicia has just demonstrated for us. I know some of you will have questions about this, so we're all in this bit together. We're all going to support each other. And if this is your first time doing this kind of query or activity, let us know, raise your hand and we can help support you through this. I know for me, I'm new to this, so I'm going to be trying it for the first time. If you are unclear on the instructions, that's okay. We've had a lot to cover in the last 90 minutes. I believe there are instructions on the Etherpad, and one of my colleagues will drop the Etherpad link into the chat. So those of you that are here, if you want to start by looking at the Etherpad, I'm just waiting for, there we go, the link is just there. And if you would like to have a go at this task and see how you get on. When you run into a problem or an issue, flag it up, put it in the chat, pop yourself on mic, raise a hand, and we'll be here to help you out. This is a beginner exercise for everyone. It would be really weird if we all got it perfect first time. In fact, that would be no fun. So let's give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I make silly mistakes all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, does anyone have any questions in the chat, or is anyone just like, I don't know what I'm doing and where to start? Because that's also okay.
That's also my feeling most of my hours. Like, what is going on? But
the instructions in the Etherpad are in all the languages as well. So we've got French, Spanish, and Portuguese there. So if you're feeling uncertain and you'd like it in your home language, please do have a wee read.
I even changed my list to French. I absolutely don't understand what's going on in here, but yes, I am also. Yes. Yeah. We have it open.
If you manage to do the task first time, so to reiterate, you're going to be building a Listeria page from scratch using the query on the Etherpad. It should show you all cultural heritage items on Wikidata from Togo. Once you have succeeded in that, you can perhaps try making your own. And if you have a query you'd like to share or one you'd like to structure, ask in the chat and we'll be able to support you in doing that. This is the perfect time to make mistakes, get things wrong, and ask for help. This is exactly what Let's Connect is for.
Absolutely. One use of this Listeria list that I really like is that, it's very easy to just plop them up on your Wikipedia so that people don't have to go and run queries in the query interpreter. And here we can see very easily which of these museums are missing an image, which of them are missing coordinates. And that could be the beginning of a competition or campaign for your local Wikipedia community. And for example, here, since I've set the language to French in my query, we can also see very clearly which of these items are missing a label in French. So that is also something that the community can help out with. We have a very beautiful museum in my home city where they used to make ropes and string. I've been there. It's really amazing. And I think they even run demonstrations. All these old machines, they can still work. So they make demonstrations, and you can learn about how rope was made back in the days.
Oh, I see Bacola has her hand up. I'm just gonna unmute. There we go, Bacola. Go for it.
Okay, so I got a nudge from a participant, and it specifically, it would like if you could go over the training again, maybe like try to practicalize the tasks on the Etherpad. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Thank
will
you.
just go back to where I was in my soundbox. I will just remove everything. I will simply remove everything. I start by looking up the template that's called Wikidata list. In the documentation, it has examples of the code snippets that should be used. There is the top and the bottom one. It doesn't matter if there is anything in between because it will be removed by the bot. So I simply paste it here. I remove the example Sparkle query because I'm going to write my own one. I want to write a query to find all museums in my home city. Instead of starting with a blank query, I can always go to some example, remove a comment, and think about what I want to find. I want to find all items that have the property P31, that is instance of, with the value museum. And I also want all of them to have the property P131, which is located in the administrative territorial entity with the value. Well, I'm going to go for Stockholm this time, just to make it a bit more interesting. And since I'm going to paste this query into Listeria, I don't need the label helper because Listeria will fetch the labels for me. I do a quick run just to make sure I did not make any sort of mistake, and it will return some results. And now I'm ready to paste this query into the Sparkle section. In the next row, I define which columns, that is what information I want to show about these items. I want to show the Wikidata item ID. So I just write item. I want to get the label. I want to get the description. I want to get the place, which is 131. I want to get the geographical coordinates, which I never remember. What they had. That was 600.
Alicia,
Yes.
we've had a question from the chat. I don't know if this is the right point to ask it, but I will, just in case. Someone has asked, how do you show items that do not have labels in some languages?
That is a very good question. I always have to look that up. I'm just going to finish this thing because I'm in the middle.
That is totally fine. Absolutely fine. Don't worry.
Then I also want my table to be divided depending on the sort of museum that is the instance of, which is P31. I also look at the min section part, which defines how many items of a particular type there should be in order to split out a section. And I don't want to limit this. I want to have a separate section for each type of museum. I save this. And I go to manually update lists. And in about a minute, this will be outdated. But I also would like to go back to my, oh, here it is. And I got a whole list. But maybe I think I don't want to only show items that have the instance of exactly museum. I also want to show items that are some sort of subclass of museum, which means I have to, here it was, which means I have to change this statement to this with a slash that will go through the whole subclass of 3 of museum. Here we are. And this should return much more results. Maybe I also want to change the language in which all the labels will be displayed. Maybe I want to show them in Swedish instead of English. It picks English by default because I'm on Wikimedia Commons. But if I was to use this on another wiki project, such as Wikipedia in French, then the default language would be French. I save and update. I save and update. And we were talking about and here it is. And here I can see I now got quite a long list divided into the different types of museums that are located in Stockholm. Oh, I'm sorry, I just got a lot of windows open here. Was this helpful?
Yeah, it was. Thank you so much. And I believe this is really able to help them understand the step-by-step guide as to how they can also like try it out. Thank you so much, Alicia. This has been quite useful. Yeah.
Yes, and now I'm going to circle back to items that do not have labels in a particular language. I'm just going back to my query for museums. And let's see, this is always a bit tricky. I'm just going to start by displaying all the items and labels in my query. I define the language service to show me labels in Swedish, just so that I can have a look. And let's see, how can I do that? How can I do this? This is always a bit tricky, because I will have to do something like this. I have to fetch the labels in a different way. Like this. Filter. This way I can see all the items that it labels in English. And how do I now do in order to remove them, so that I only get items that do not have labels in? No, this is wrong, because now I only got all the labels in different languages. No, this is tricky. I have to admit that this. I know I've done this before, but if you're using Listeria, and I have overwritten it so many times. If you're using Listeria and you set your language to a particular language, then you can visually, let's say I will change it to Russian. And then when I reload it, I will be able to see which of the items do not have a label in Russian. There is a way of doing that directly in Sparkle, but unfortunately, I'm not able to get it off the top of my head right now. Are you happy? Yeah, this way you will see which ones are missing.
This is great. Thanks so much, Alicia, for showing us this.
Because it's just doing directly in Sparkle to just isolate out items without a label. I know this is something I have done, so there is a way.
Well, the good thing about Wiki is there's always a way to do something, and it's sometimes just about finding the place to look. And we really appreciate you sharing all this knowledge with us today. I'm wondering how everyone's getting on. Any thumbs up, thumbs down? How are people feeling? Use those reactions. We're coming up towards the end of the session, but I'd love to just see some little emojis out there, see how you're all getting on. Oh, Bacola gave me a smile. That's nice. Thanks, Bacola. I appreciate that. Oh, someone did a little party popper. Who is that? Oh, Chinu, thank you. Thank you again. Oh, Obi, I see you. Thank you. This is amazing. And we really appreciate this this demonstration, Alicia. And I'm pretty sure that everyone here is going to be going off and trying these things. I've got 1748 here in the UK. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to ask any final questions, anything you'd like Alicia to go over. And then we'll move into the closing part of today's session where we'll ask for a little bit of feedback and sort of close things out. So I'll give you just another minute. Pop anything in the chat, put your hands up. And then we'll move over to our final parts.
I did it. I did the query.
Oh, there you go.
So
would you be able to put that query in the Etherpad, Alicia?
So what I'm doing here, I get all museums in Stockholm, I think, which do not have a label in French. And then I say, show me their label in Swedish or English. So all of these do not have a label in.
Excellent. If you could share that, I don't know, people who maybe haven't used Sparkle as much, you get these little links yes. for your queries, and Alicia's going to pop this in the chat, and you can always emulate them, you can always alter them and use them as a starting point. I can see a comment from Alicia in the chat. Pas de français, I don't speak French, unfortunately, but if someone could just pop a little translation in, that would be great.
I can. Can you hear me?
I speak a little bit of French, but not enough to translate, sadly.
I find that the session is very interesting, and I think that that I will try it later, and I will get it better.
Very interesting. I believe once he tries to do it, he'll do better. I think that is a really good philosophy for all of us, that once we try to do these things, we will improve. And from my personal experience, Wikidata is a very very simple, but also complex. So everyone says it's really simple, and in some ways it is, and then you try to do something and it doesn't go quite right. So I really appreciate everyone being honest about their experiences here. So on that note, I would really love it if we could, first of all, show our appreciation for Alicia, maybe with some clapping reactions. If you want to come on mic, if you want to do a little reaction emoji, that would be amazing. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. So that's going to take me a little bit of grunting while you're all doing that. There we go. So it is time for us to check out by participating in a Mentimeter. So for those of you who have not done a Menti before, we love these for feedback on Let's Connect events. We particularly love it for these kind of events because we're running a third one. So we want to shape the third part of this series in a way that is useful for you. So we've got 5 short questions, and I would be so happy if you all would be able to follow the link in the chat and just answer those questions just now while we still have a little bit of time. And you'll actually be able to see your answers coming in live. They will be anonymous, but we'll be able to see them on the screen here. So if you could take just a moment to fill in the questions on the Menti, let us know if you have any problems with the link. Oh, there we go. Amazing. So you might be able to tell I'm very easily impressed and love things that show up instantly. So 2 people have participated so far. The questions are in all 4 languages. So once you click on the link, you'll be able to follow them through. So those of you that haven't done so yet, the link is in the chat. You don't need to log in or anything like that. You just need to click the link and you can add your feedback. It will be anonymous. We won't know who has said what, but we will be able to get a sense of how today's session has gone. I've got 3 people now, and I can see that there are at least 14 or 15 of you in the room. So let's get those numbers up, get some feedback. Oh, we're up to 4. We're really speeding up now, y'all. This is great. I am one of those people though who is like, you must do feedback. Feedback's great. And then when I get sent a survey, I'm like, I'll do it next week, and then never remember to. So you're all doing much better than me. I'm going to motivate you to, yeah, look at that. That was motivating. I see 6 people now. Excellent. We'll just have a quick scan through. There we go. Amazing. We're going to see some of you at the next session. Wonderful. Some of you are going to do the practical exercise, but are not sure if you will join. That's great. The next session will be recorded as well. And there has been a little bit of confusion about the date. So I can tell you now that the session will now take place on Thursday, the 9th of November at 3 p.m. UTC. I'm sure one of my colleagues will put that in the chat as well. The reason we have moved it is because on Friday the 3rd, we're having a Let's Connect Connect-a-thon. If none of you have been to one, they're great fun. They're social events for us to get in touch with people in the Let's Connect community. And we have them on the first Friday of the month. And we didn't realize when we scheduled the 3rd session that we'd made a clash. So as you've got it held in your diary already, I hope to see you all at the Connect-a-thon as well. But session 3 of this will take place on Thursday the 9th at 3 p.m. UTC. Important things that were taken from the clinic today. This is amazing. You can use queries for commons. Utility of PET scans, Sparkle, using Listeria in a new way, knowing that Listeria could be a new way of participating in Wiki Loves Monuments, and a little thank you so much. That's a lovely use of that function. Thank you everyone for being here. And what can we improve for session 3? This is something we can all have a look at. I think people were still writing answers there. So it's 17:55. I would encourage those of you who haven't yet done the Menti to do so. Cassie, our new leader at Let's Connect, who's here today, who's covering for Jessica while she's on maternity leave, likes to say that we give the gift of time back when we finish a little bit early. So we're finishing just a few minutes early today, so I'm going to gift you time back to your afternoons, your mornings, and your evenings, and say thank you all for being here. Someone's asked in the chat when the Connect-a-thon is. It will be on Friday the 3rd of November. So we hope to see you there, and you'll get communications about that. So once again, thank you, Alicia, so much for that. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please take care, stay safe, and we hope to see you at session number 3. Oh, I can't, I'm hiding my face, sorry. Hi, everyone, I thought my camera was on. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And Jessica likes to, this is the point where you can take your mics off and your videos off and make lots of noise if you want. So thank you all.
I have a special request.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much for the training
Merci
today.
beaucoup.
It's really been
Au revoir.
very inspiring, and we've learned a lot. The special request I have is, would you be able to like split the videos based on the different topics taught, maybe so that you can upload it on YouTube? I think that would be more useful for a lot of people with different likings, and also it will make it easy for searching on YouTube for search videos later for different communities.
That's a really good question. I'm going to defer to Cassie and Bukola because they've done uploads before, which I haven't. I don't know if we could make the video smaller, but we might be able to put in bookmarks or a note of when specific things are discussed. But I think that's a really good point, Nishitobu, and I think it would be something really worth thinking about. Cassie and Bukola, do you know if that's something we can do?
Lucy, I think what we have been doing previously is to upload on the Let's Connect YouTube channel, where we usually make sure to use the exact name of the learning clinic to save the video, but I wouldn't know if it is possible to break the videos into different segments. But we always try as much as possible to also use descriptions that states clearly what the videos entails. So I think that could also be useful to provide more clarity as to whether or not this clinic meets your training needs in terms of like maybe you want to learn Sparkle Query or Listeria or how to use or how to create structured data on commons. I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bukola. Thank you everyone for being here, and do go and enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, hopefully not middle of the night, but if it is the middle of the night, I hope you enjoy that too.